This episode of Mass Appeal Podcast is brought to you by the IV Hub. The IV Hub is a state-of-the-art health spa that offers immunity IVs, weight loss IVs, Myers cocktails, beauty IVs, and skinny drips, along with so much more. Located at 469 Salem Street in Medford, Mass, and open every day except Wednesday and Sunday. Call 781-728-9035. That's 781-728-9035 for more information, or visit www.theivhubboston.com. That's www.theivhubboston.com to book your appointment now. Guys, if you need any type of maintenance with an IV, like I said, immunity IVs, weight loss IVs, Myers cocktails, if you're familiar with those, look them up, beauty IVs, and skinny drips. These guys are a one-stop shop for all that stuff and a bunch of other personal wellness treatments, guys. Located right at 469 Salem Street in Medford, Mass. They're open every day except Wednesday and Sunday. Phone number 781-728-9035, www.theivhubboston.com to book your appointment now. Guys, get more in tune with your own personal health, your own personal well-being and wellness, right? Go see Noreen and the other phenomenal professionals that are all part of the staff at the IV Hub at 469 Salem Street in Medford, Massachusetts. Book your appointment today and get going on feeling a better you. Guys, welcome back. We are at episode 5 of the Mass Appeal Podcast. I am your host, Mark Lewis. Guys, today I am joined. We obviously got a local legend. We got a former NFL player. We have a Super Bowl champion right here, East Boston's own Jermaine Wiggins. Wiggs, what is up? Thank you so much for being here, man.
Oh, man, don't thank me. I'm always just trying to support. We got a little bit of a connection. I know your former co-host?
Yes.
That used to be on?
Yeah, Tommy, yes.
Yeah, and so you guys are connected through East Boston.
Yeah, he's an Eastie guy, right.
So we kind of all, know the same people. I'm a little bit older than you, so...
Sure.
So that's, for me, it's more about supporting. I like to see people that are from here doing well and doing big things.
You know what made me want to reach out to you, honest to God, is like when I ran into you at the card show a couple months ago, and when I've seen you at a couple other things, dude, you're like the most approachable guy ever.
Yeah.
You really are like the most like regular guy on planet Earth.
I try to tell people that, that's because, I'm a regular dude who I talk shit for 4 hours, and I love talking shit, whether it's about sports, whether it's about pop culture. We used to do it as kids growing up in Easter. We used to talk a lot of shit. We used to call cracking on each other. Yeah. So to have this opportunity to come on here, and we know a few similar people, right? Like I said, I'm a little bit older, but but it's good though. I'm here to support and have a good time.
Yeah, and then you know what it is. I think what I always thought was remarkable about your career, Wiggs, was that you were one of the first guys to kind of come out, get done playing and like make that career transition,
right? Like
seamlessly almost. You got right into it,
right? And
now everybody does it.
Yeah. And
you retired. Forgive me. What was it? 07?
No. 07. Like 2010 was technically my last year because I played in the UFL. So I did that. So that was technically my last year, 2010.
Yep. Okay.
So it's been a minute, and then I got out of it, and, I had always wanted to do it because even when I played, I used to do, NFL Network used to have like Players Week where, you see it now where guys would go out to California for the week. They were still playing, and, you
ate all that shit up.
Yeah. So I wanted to do all that kind of shit and everything. And I've always had the love for kind of like, talking. People always like, we always had that love of talking.
I wish being mic'd up was more of a thing in your day. You would have been the guy to mic up.
I would have been shit.
You would have been, Are you kidding me? Oh, man.
I'll tell you, I try to think of like some of the guys that, like when you think like these are guys that talk a lot and guys that are mic'd up, and you're like, man, I like listening to this guy.
Cam Newton. That's one thing. Like I gotta say, Cam is good on the mic.
Yeah, I would say I'm trying to think of that player that you always, man, damn, this dude don't stop talking. He talks a ton of shit. As I'm trying to think of some of the players.
Philip Rivers used to.
Yeah, well, Philip Rivers. Yeah,
I mean, he didn't swear, so really he was like, "Yeah, get the frick out of my dang," and you know what I'm saying? He's like a Christian boy, so he doesn't like swear or anything. But like, there's a bunch of guys in the NFL that kind of make their bones, but I can't listen to any of the guys from the Steelers, by the way. They're all obnoxious, like Juju and Chase Claypool. Like, I'm good with that. Like, don't ever mic up anybody from Pittsburgh. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I wish it was more prevalent back, and they mic'd up guys every now and then, but it usually was the guys that were, the superstars of the team. So, but yeah, it's, I think the transition for me, that's kind of something that I always looked at and I always had fun. And just now with like the world of podcasting and all and everything, and all these different like platforms that you can get involved, I think it just allows people to enjoy what they do, make a good living doing it, and have fun.
You got screwed in two ways. One, like I said, the mic'd up thing wasn't a thing. Two, you had to play on AstroTurf.
Yeah. I played on the original Astro. The Bills might have been the worst stadium ever as far as the AstroTurf. Like,
what is that actually like? Is it literally like playing on concrete?
It's like playing on concrete. It would be like,
God.
It's almost like playing. Almost like playing in your living room on carpet with the concrete underneath it. So can you imagine like if you have, think about this shit in here. It's like, it would be like playing on that, but with concrete underneath it. So yeah, that was the days of the AstroTurf. And I kind of got into the transition of, I played on the AstroTurf, but then I got into the new
grassy turf. I think they started calling
like the
it,
new artificial grass turf field, which I guess now a lot of players want to go back to grass field because a lot of the injuries. I think,
was that the way it was, or were they asking to go to just turf?
No, they wanted to go. I think I want to say it's Joey Bosa was big on it.
You're right. Yes, that's correct.
And maybe his brother Nick, where they like put together this petition of wanting all those kind of turf fields with the little black pellets that now you see pretty much everywhere. They want to go back to the regular turf.
The only thing it comes down to, it's like, I mean, like on a quick side note with that, it's like it's a money thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because a turf field to install like a turf field here in Massachusetts, I think it's like $1 million.
Yeah, it's $1 million.
It's $1 million, right? Now, what do you spend in upkeep for like grass?
Yeah,
at that, like maintenance guys. Right. What does Fenway spend maintaining the grass at Fenway freaking Park, dude?
And then you got to think that, you can get away with it in baseball because it's not getting beat up as much as you would in football. Right. So you got to think of some of those fields that are grass fields like Pittsburgh is, and Pittsburgh is like playing on a dump. The divots.
It's like playing behind Perazzo Rink on the softball field.
And the divots that come up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of, the upkeep is part of like the give and take. Right. With the whole field turf, because I guess a lot of the field turf, the injuries were up. But, to me, it's all about the injuries. And if you're seeing more injuries up, I'd rather play on a shitty grass field than a nice field turf that, I might have a 20% higher chance of getting hurt.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Plus, it's like, you see it, I feel like I feel like it might actually be maybe more now. You're seeing these blown ACLs, blowing Achilles.
Yeah. That's why I think I want to say, I think it was Joey Bosa who
you're right.
put
That's
some
correct.
stuff out
or
about
Nick Bosa, one of the two of them.
Yeah,
you're
trying
right.
to start like this change in it. So
you're right. That'll come down to a money thing.
Yeah.
Before like anything is right, and then before we get into your kids, because they're both damn good football players, right?
Thank you.
I mean, it speaks for themselves. You got one son. We'll go right into it. One son is at Arizona.
Yep.
Right, and he's a freshman, right?
Yeah, he's an early enrollee freshman, so he enrolled in January.
So we can play spring ball and stuff like that. Is that
so? He's actually playing spring ball right now.
Gotcha.
So they're in their spring ball season. So and then when the rest of the freshmen come, that'll probably be like June. Mm-hmm. He'll have had like 5 months or whatever it is head start. And then my youngest son is a junior at Central Catholic High School who's trying to figure out, all right, the whole process and where he's going to land.
And according to his Instagram, before we get into that whole process, just got his first D1 offer from Marshall.
Yeah, and then we were at BC Saturday.
Nice.
And then we're going to Pitt in 2 weeks.
Nice.
So for a visit down there. So yeah, he's and they're both defensive linemen.
Yeah.
So it's...
Could you tell from an early age where you thought they were going to end up?
It's crazy because my older son, he played tight end, and he was a really good tight end. So he was a good tight end.
Are they as big as you?
My older son is. My older son's probably like 6'4".
Yeah,
he's probably walking around at like 252, 255.
Oh, big guy.
Yeah, my younger son, He's like, he's a little shorter than me, but he's just turned 16. So he's probably like 6 feet, but he's bigger. He's probably like 240. He's very built. He's built more of the shorter defensive tackles, like one guy that he absolutely loves and he looks up to. And, as a kid, you try to pattern your game after certain people. And his is more of like the Aaron Donald.
I was just about to say that. People don't realize he's only like 6. I say only. He's like 6'1".
Yeah, I think he's like 6'1".
When you think of like a defensive lineman, you think of a guy that's like, remember like John Henderson?
Yeah,
guys like that.
I played with
were
John
just
Henderson.
The guys that were just people forget how big that dude was.
Richard Seymour was like 6'5".
Yep.
I think it's just the transition of what you see with the game. Because when I played, you were thinking about guys like Ted Washington, Vince Wilfork, big, giant, massive men.
Yeah.
Now the game, it's crazy.
Linebackers are 5'11".
Well, yeah, the game, you know what's
it's
crazy?
It's like insane, you know what I mean?
What's crazy about it, and I say this all the time, the game has gotten smaller. People don't believe that.
No,
right?
You're right.
People don't believe that, but the game has gotten smaller. And when I say that, when you look at some of the players, and I talk about the D lineman, or just even like the defensive ends, when you look at like the outside linebackers, like Willie McGinnis and how big he was.
Monster of a dude.
Chris Slade. Man, I got dry mouth like crazy. You guys got any water bottles in here?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, 100%.
But
it's
like
part of the benefits of hedge.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
got free water.
Right.
Wiggy, you like
that's
that?
when you know you have a good podcast.
You like that?
When you know
free water at this place.
You know you have a good podcast is when you have free water.
100%. Look at this.
That is spot
Check
on.
It out. I feel bad. I got the Poland Spring. We got Wiggy, the great
That's
value.
all right.
That's all right. I was going to call you, Nash, if you wanted a coffee on the way here.
That's when you know your podcast is going places. When you have free water.
You heard it here first. Hedge Better stock is going up. Free water.
There it is.
Yeah, you think Joe Rogan has free water?
No, I don't. Free weed, definitely. They get the free grass.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
They got more than free weed. They get peyote and shit over there. He's got all the wild shit.
That's pretty good too. So
yeah, exactly.
But when you look at the players now in the league, I always say that the league has gotten smaller in the sense of just, there's still big guys, don't get me wrong, but you don't see the days of the Vince Wilforks, of the Ted Washingtons. No. When I played Pat Williams, those days.
Pat Williams.
Yeah, remember he used to play for the Buffalo Bills.
Yep. He was with the Vikings for a while, right?
Yeah, he played with me in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right. That's where I was kind of putting that together.
Those days are gone. Now they want like the Aaron Donalds, the smaller 285-pound quick guys that are good. And it's just,
and it's funny you say that. You look at a guy side by side. Vince Wilfork, a lot of people don't realize, he's probably only 6'1", 6'2", but he's what, 325?
Yeah, I'd say he's probably a little big. I'd say Vince is probably about maybe 6'3", but he
really? They got him listed at like 6'1", 6'2". That's crazy.
Yeah, he's probably a little bigger. Maybe,
really?
But when he played, he was every bit of like 350.
But he was so athletic.
Oh, yeah.
That guy had quick feet.
Right.
That guy had as quick a feet as a guy that size that I've maybe ever seen on a football field, honestly.
Yeah, and so that's kind of
motor.
And what you're seeing in the league, and they had guys that were like the Aaron Donald types when I played, like Warren Sapp, but you're starting to see more of that quick, athletic, You see more quick and fast linebackers, I would say, because back then it was like the big Ted Johnsons, Andy Katzenmoy. I remember
Andy Katzenmoy?
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, so I remember like it was like that, like Mo Lewis, who was I played with Mo Lewis, or Brian Cox.
Right.
But big linebackers.
I say it all the time, like you don't see the guys that remember the D lineman, you used to like see like legit like the stomach hanging out from under you don't see that anymore.
No, not that.
That's gone.
Now they're taking care of themselves. I will say that.
Are.
Guys that are 300 pounds look like they're 280. And you see that transition now because of just the athletes on both sides of the football, especially with running backs and quarterbacks. But it's just, even the defensive ends, there were guys like Vonnie Holiday that was a defensive end.
Vonnie Holiday, Green Bay.
Yeah, played at 290 pounds, And so, now your defensive ends are like Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Chase Young. These guys are, still big guys, 265. I would say now they're probably better athletes. Vonnie Holiday probably wasn't running a 4.6 or a 4.7. But then you
got those guys that transcended, like obviously you remember Reggie White.
Oh yeah.
That guy was just like a scary large man that would just manhandle people.
Yeah, it's just but there's like every generation there's gonna have those guys. But that's how defensive ends used to look, like Reggie White.
No, then remember how? And that's funny you say this, right? Because cornerbacks, they tried to get bigger with them for a while.
A little
like
bit.
the little like right, real quick, right? Like Richard Sherman and those get Brandon Brown, or there was that era of guys they were trying to get like a lot bigger at cornerback.
Well, because the receivers were getting bigger.
Right. And like it's funny you say this because going back to the size thing in the NFL, guys like Steve Largent were like an anomaly.
Right.
He was like a little 5'9", 180-pound guy.
Yeah.
Now those guys are everywhere.
Right. Well, because the receivers were getting bigger because then it was more of like the Michael Irvin size receiver.
Right.
Right. So you had Michael Irvin, you had Andre Reed who played for the Buffalo Bills.
Randy.
Randy Moss. But I'm kind of like the transition of like, late 80s, early 90s, like Irvin Fryer.
Oh, Irvin Fryer. Yeah. I'm sorry. Right.
So
yes.
some of the, and then like that's kind of transition to like the game, like the receivers getting bigger and now, but and now you see these fast, like you're seeing like everybody's running 4.3s. It seems like this
year's combine was
receivers
absurd.
and DBs are running 4.3s, like they got a whole nother gear. So you're
Crazy.
seeing a lot of that now. But yeah, the game has kind of changed in that sense of the way. So when you look at even like my kids in high school, like my one son is bigger, but my other son is a little bit smaller. Where maybe back before, like he's too undersized, but now because Aaron Donald's probably going to go down as the greatest defensive lineman to ever play the game, now you won't be looked over because of maybe you don't fit the prototype.
It's funny, the NHL's doing the same thing. Remember guys back in the day, you couldn't play in the NHL at 5'9".
No, but I think Marchand is the perfect example of kind of changing, at least for the generation that maybe, somebody like you might remember, or like, I remember some of the younger guys, not younger guys, but the older guys, but as they started getting small and quick.
Right, and when I was young, it was guys like, I'm 30, so when I was young, it was guys like Paul Correa, Theo Fleury. I'm trying to think, this was like you just started seeing smaller guys kind of start to make their way, because back when you were a kid, your 70s, 80s.
Was you a big hockey player growing up?
I still skate twice a week.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I didn't play at Georgetown. We didn't have a team. I was a baseball player. That's what I played briefly.
But you played hockey growing up?
Oh, yeah. Like I played for Eastie.
All right.
So my dad
Mustangs?
brought me. My dad, Christine Boutilleri, was the VP. Boots' mother.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, she was, how do you call it? Bucky's father was my assistant coach.
Yeah, I was on the first. And this is our claim to fame here for all the East Boston people out there.
Yeah.
I was on the first mini one-on-one team to win.
That's right. I used to hear about that.
That's when mini one-on-one was good. That's when it was not just a breakaway. It was breakaway. It was 2-on-1 and then 3-on-2.
Yes.
And that's when it was, it's completely changed.
Mini one-on-one was a legit thing when you guys were kids.
Yes.
And fully legit.
Oh, yeah. And I will never forget, it was myself, Joe Murray was a really good hockey player. Michael Hanley was good. Anthony Cheradonna.
Yep.
Who am I missing here?
Mikey Rogers. Did you say Mikey?
No. Mikey Rogers didn't play on my mini one-on-one
team.
You're
talking about the mini one?
Yeah, this was 1988. Wow, I'm going back. Yeah, I'm kind of dating myself.
Were you like Crumb's age?
No, Crumb is younger than me.
Crumb's younger than you?
Yeah, so Crumb's
disgusting.
Yeah. I know his brother PJ.
He doesn't even tie his skates.
Yes. See, he was younger than me. So
Charlie Daniels is older than you.
Charlie Daniels is younger than me. These are all the guys that are younger than me.
You're right. Charlie Daniels is younger than you.
These are all those plays good, because I still play. I was playing in the Eastie League until it got too goonish.
What is up with that? Can we talk about this 2 seconds really quick?
Yeah.
I literally don't even have any desire to play men's league hockey anymore because it's so stupid at this point. Everybody, it's just like everybody's like trying to be the toughest guy on planet Earth.
Yeah. So I played in the Eastie League that Boots used to run.
Yeah. Jeff Arenella runs it now.
And Jeff. Yeah, Jeff was part of running it, and a lot of those kids, they're younger than me. But I remember them, growing up, but they were younger. So I would play in that league, and it's a good league. And like some of those kids that you talked about, they were younger than me. But
there are a lot of good players.
Really good. Like Charlie was a really, really good hockey player. I think he played at St. Lawrence or something like that.
St. Lawrence, he's a beast, yeah.
And then there was
Crumb could have played wherever he wanted.
But then I'm thinking Chaffee was really good, but he was a head case. Yeah. So a lot of these, these kids, and then you want to go there. For me, I'm playing really for the beers and having fun.
You playing all the charity games and shit too, right?
Yeah, well, I was playing some of the Bruins alumni games. So,
Yep.
so for me, it was more about fun. Then it just got to the point where, you know, they were already good skaters and good hockey players. And you're there, and then you kind of like, you know what? All right, there's too many. Then they started letting kids from like Southie and
stuff. Yep.
And now I was like, forget about it.
Heard the whole story.
They're 22, right out of college. They probably played hockey in college, and they were madmen. And it's like, you know what? I'm not going to be sitting here fighting with you in the parking lot at 11 o'clock at night, like it's 1991.
Right.
So
would have been a different story at that time.
Yeah. It's like completely different. Like those, I only have a little bit of gas left in my tank if I have to really get into a fight. And I have to save that for a rainy day.
Exactly.
Those days are long gone. But there's some good leagues. But I will say this: there are some talented players,
Absolutely,
even though they'll goon it up a little bit. And I'll play like now I play like more of the over 40 leagues.
You went into the over, huh?
Yeah, because
once you go into one of those leagues, you're there.
Yeah, because my boy DJ Dave Natola, he'll run some of those. We played up at Hockey Town. Now we just really play pickup in the summertime.
Good for you. Yeah, I play pickup twice a week. I have no desire to go into a league.
Yeah, it's just
none whatsoever.
Yeah,
I'm at two good pickup.
You're too
skates.
young
like
right
it.
now. Until you get to like over 35, you might be all right. Then I think the goonishness starts to kind of dissipate a little bit when you get 35,
I just have no
40.
desire for it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just stupid.
It's fun though. Like, it is fun.
No, it is. If you're in the right league, it's awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing is like, so how did you going back really quick to your kids? Them picking a college for any kid, even it doesn't matter if my kid's not playing college sports, picking your college is like a huge decision. Obviously, it's the first big decision a kid makes, right?
Right.
So how did you advise, especially from a guy who, again, now, were you recruited right out of Eastie from Georgia, like by Georgia, I should say?
Fuck no.
How did this? I was gonna say they found you up here. That's crazy. I know you were a stud, but Jesus Christ,
no. Like when I played, I was a basketball kid growing up.
Right, I heard that.
So I was a basketball kid. So basketball is what I love to do.
So you were Antonio Gates before Antonio Gates, essentially.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I love basketball. There was BNBL, which was the Boston Neighborhood Basketball League we used to play as kids growing up.
That must have been insane.
Yeah,
I've heard stories.
This is like, when nowadays too many kids got PlayStations and Xboxes. I say leave those things to like guys like myself, the older guys. Let us play Call of Duty. Get outside. We used to be every day, whether it was Jeffries, whether it was The Point, whether it was Maverick.
You guys were on the court 10 hours, 12 hours a day.
Sun up to sundown, whether you're playing street hockey, you're playing basketball, it didn't matter. It was the Collegiates. It was sun up to sundown, and that's what we did. We played sports. It was fun. I said, that's when there's a couple fights break out, and we settled it with our hands every now and then. There was a few crazies that were pulling out knives and shit like that. But that's what we did. We played sports, and basketball was my thing. I won a state championship in high school at Eastie, and I always loved basketball. But I was a 6'2" power forward in high school. So you could get away with it in high school.
It's one of the toughest transitions about high school to college basketball. You get a kid that that on a height deprived, and Jay Fine, you can probably speak to this. Didn't you run into the same issue at Bentley?
Yeah, no, 100%. In high school, growing up 6'2", 6'3", that's a decent size for a forward. Then you try to play at the next level.
No.
They're like, cool, can you run the point?
Yeah.
No.
It's like, wait a second, shit, I can't dribble.
Exactly.
I always bust my my head coach when I played at high school, Mike Rubin. And I'm like, you could have like taught me how to shoot the three or let me dribble more, rather than me just thinking I could do it like on the side or something like that or pick up games.
Today's NBA, they would have been like, oh, you can't pull up from half court. Sorry, we don't got a spot for you.
Well, they're like 6'2" power forward. No, that don't work. I know you weigh 230, 240, but guess what? These guys are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", and power forwards. So it was. I knew it was probably never going to happen for me to accomplish
at the Division
my dream.
I level at least.
Yeah. But my dream was the NBA, so that dream was shattered real quickly. And I never had aspirations about playing in the NFL or anything like that. So for me, football was. One of my boys was like, I didn't even play my freshman year. It was like, you should come out and play football. Because we had, we had Pop Warner, right?
In Eastie,
Yeah, in Eastie.
You guys used to have a huge program.
Yeah, so we had Pop Warner, and it was really big back in the day. But with Pop Warner, I was a bigger kid. Like I hit my.
They would have had you playing with like 16-year-old guys.
Yeah, so I would have had to play up,
right.
and I had to make weight limits, and so it was all types of shit. And I was just like, my mother was like, "It's too much of a hassle. We don't even want to do it. So fuck it, we're not going to do it." And you play basketball, and I was a hockey player, at 12 years old. And so I played football, but more it was like tackle football where you'd go down we used to play,
you guys were insane.
Yeah, we'd go and play up at Shore Plaza. They had a nice little field out there, or Maverick had this nice little field.
Yep.
It was called two-hand tag rush back then, but it was like, and that's how you learned how to play football.
They had the league for a while too, and
yes.
My father played in that with all the point guys.
Yeah. So it was and that's like, you knew how to play football, you just didn't play it organized.
Right.
So that was the difference. And then when I got to high school, that's it wasn't like this big recruit coming out of high school. And my buddy goes, "You should go to prep school." And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And he was like, "Yeah, you can go there and you don't lose a year of eligibility." And,
So where'd you go? It was
I went to Bridgeton Academy.
Oh, Bridgeton. Okay.
Yeah, I went to Bridgeton Academy. My mother was a single parent. She goes, "As long as I don't have to pay for it, he can go wherever the hell he wants to go."
Right.
And that's kind of how it worked out. And then I went to Marshall, and my coach from Marshall went to Georgia.
Oh, so that's how you got to Georgia. Okay.
That's how I got to Georgia, because I went to Marshall University first.
Right.
Was doing well down there, and then I had a great time playing for Marshall. Great experience.
You were there with Randy?
No, it's funny is I was with Chad Pennington.
Oh.
So I was with Chad. Randy came in, and I transferred. So Randy and our paths didn't cross in college. I played with him at the league when I got to Minnesota.
Is Chad the all-time lovable guy that everybody wanted to see
Chad,
succeed
man.
so bad?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to see him kill it and so bad. He was like the Alex Smith of his generation.
Right, but he had a pretty good career until he had some injuries.
He did.
I think he was a first round draft pick, and so Chet, and actually his kid is committed to Marshall. His kid's a quarterback. I think he might be a freshman next year, but he's committed to go there. So I started. That's how I was at Marshall.
Awesome.
And then when my head coach went to Georgia, Jim Donnan, that's when I transferred with him.
Is that the best? You're like, "Oh, coach is going to Georgia. Here we go. I'm going, baby. Let's go."
Yeah, because when Marshall was recruiting me, Marshall was like, fuck, it was like they were Division I AA champions. Yeah. So for me, the only school that was recruiting me out of high school was Northeastern. I remember going to BC one time.
When they had a football program.
Yeah, when they had a football program. I remember going to BC on a visit or something this guy took me to BC.
Yep.
But BC wasn't really, I was a quarterback in high school, so it was like, whatever.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was a quarterback.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I played quarterback and linebacker, so I didn't even play tight end in high school.
You were Cam before Cam.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's it.
We ran the wishbone. I don't know if I was Cam. I told you it was basketball for me. So football was like, all right, you know what?
I'm out here just doing my thing. I'm chilling.
I'm
with
just
my boys.
out here,
Cool.
hanging out with some of the guys playing football. I was a starting quarterback.
I'm pretty good. This is fun. You know what I mean? It's all you sucked. You know what I mean?
What it was
Makes
like.
it easier.
Yeah, it was exactly. So, I played every sport. I played baseball in high school. Yeah. So it was like, all right, I'm having a good time. My mother's like, all right, as long as you're not getting locked up or you're not getting shot at, I'm happy, right? Exactly. And you don't end up in jail or dead. So for me, the whole football thing was like, all right, cool. And then Northeastern was the only school that was really recruiting me. And that's when my buddy, Danny, goes, "Hey, you should go to prep school." I had no idea what it was. And then come to find out, we learned what it was. And I went there. And then that's when Marshall recruited me when I was in prep school. And that's how I ended up going to Marshall. And for me, that was like, it was like 30,000 seat stadium. I was like, wow, this is fucking awesome.
They got a lot of pride about that whole program. Right. It's a big program.
Right. And I went there. Troy Brown went there. I remember Troy.
Troy Brown did go there.
Yeah, I remember when I got there, Troy had just got to the league and he went playing for the Patriots. So it was like cool to see these are former Marshall players who are now playing in the NFL. Mike Bartram was a tight end who played in the NFL. So Marshall was like a big deal for a kid coming out of Eastie. I was like, wow, this is huge. You know what I mean? This is like BC-ish level that I was able to play at. So when I was there, and then when my coach went to Georgia, then it was like,
playing on an SAC field in the late 90s.
It was a whole nother level of college.
Did you just like shit yourself the first day you went out there? You were like, oh my God, this is insanity.
I was just like, I only thought this was shit I saw on TV. Because, what's funny, my best friend, his name is, he's from East, his name is Danny Ecasella. For some reason, he loved Notre Dame growing up.
I feel like a lot of people around here like Notre Dame growing up. Must have been the Irish thing.
Yeah, he was a huge Notre Dame fan growing up. And I just remember like watching like Notre Dame and like that type of football, because you didn't really see a ton of SEC games up here, so you got a lot of Notre Dame football, but you knew the magnitude of what that type of, whether it was Notre Dame, Michigan.
And they were good at that time.
Yeah, and you knew the magnitude of what that was, and you were like, wow. So for me, it was just like, that wasn't reality. That was like when you're playing at Marshall, you're like, this is great, but that's like not reality. I only thought
it's a different world.
I only thought they recruited like special breeds of athletes to play at that level, whether it was Notre Dame, Georgia, Michigan. I was like, yeah, that ain't for me.
It's funny for me because I did the same thing with baseball. I'm like, they're recruiting kids that I've never even come across in my life.
Yeah, so
that I've never even played against in my life.
And I was like, oh, these are just for kids like for Florida, Texas, and California.
Exactly.
So then when I got there, I was more in awe of like, wow, how big it was. Like, the tailgating, like RVs everywhere. But my mentality was like, I could play with anybody.
Sure. Yeah, right.
And so I was able to, when I got there, I was like, oh, these kids ain't better than me. Uh-huh. It was just that this is what they were around, right? You know what I mean? So you're like, there's a lot of good athletes around here. And BC, you're hoping to get recruited by BC. But some of these kids think in their mind, well, I can't play, anywhere else, but you can. Mm-hmm. They put their, pants and cleats on the same way you do. We just have that mindset of like, oh, we're not used to seeing it on a daily basis like they are in some of these other places.
Baseball was the same exact way, but do you know how many recruits they lose out on because they only care about football? I feel like.
Right. So
and it's like, think about how many kids ended up at Vanderbilt when they won that national. There was like 4 guys from Massachusetts, in like the pitching staff alone. You know what I'm saying? Clemson guys end up at North Carolina.
Right.
Like it's crazy.
Right.
And it's just like, sometimes I wish BC cared a little bit more about something other than the base. I mean, the hockey program, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
And, but yeah, it's the same thing. You would see guys from Massachusetts. You think Massachusetts, you don't think like amazing, maybe not. Like you do about like Texas, California.
Yeah.
So the same mentality.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
I think that the only thing we play up here is hockey.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly. You know what I mean? And,
which we do play, but we do play other sports.
No, 100%. So, like I said, going into the next segment here, as far as your kids playing football, how did you feel from a guy who played his whole career, you know what I mean? Played football, obviously as a youth and stuff like that, right? With how this whole concussion thing has come with the NFL, how people are holding their kids out to play and tackle football till they're in high school.
Right.
Like, what do you think about all that? Like, how like these viral clips of like coaches, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like sometimes they're setting these kids up to get lit up and you feel bad.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all that shit?
Well, as somebody who was part of the concussion lawsuit, I think for me, it was more about shining light on the issue. And now I think what the NFL has done is they've done a pretty good job in as far as the awareness, technology, there's independent guys. Back when I was playing, it was like, how many fingers am I holding up? It was like,
are you alive?
It was like, how many fingers? And you were like, I think it's 3. Yeah, you're right. It's 3. Get out there. You know what I mean? So now I think with the awareness and everything, the NFL has done a good job of the independent doctors, the practices. We kind of like bust their balls a little bit and be like, all right, these guys are soft, because the days of 2-a-day, training camps, when I played versus when I see them, I'm like, God damn, I could have played another 5 years.
5 years, right, exactly, yeah.
But they've done a good job with that. I think as far as the NFL and even down in the college and even in the high school, for like youth sports, like parents, they have to make this decision. For me, I started my kids playing young, right? But my biggest thing, when you play young, for me, when you start, like, you see, they're like little bobbleheads running around.
Bro, literally, yeah.
Yeah, they like
literally what it looks
there's
like.
no like really size differential at that age, when they're like, 6 or 7 years old. There's no huge size. They're giant, the helmets are too heavy, and the hits are not too bad. But the way I look at it is, it's not about the hits that they sustain. It's about they know when they look at it, can this kid play when he does get to high school and the size goes from, okay, here's a kid who's 6'4" to a kid who's 5'9".
Right.
This kid's 220 pounds. This kid's 140 pounds soaking wet. And guess what? You got to go tackle him. What did you play where you got past that? I'm afraid to get hit, and I'll do it the right way.
Right.
That's what ends up happening. When you wait too long and they get to high school, now they're just learning how to tackle. And now when you're learning how to tackle and the size differential is in high school is, once you could be two different ends of the spectrum.
Exact same thing with youth hockey.
Yeah. So it's right. When I played youth hockey, we were checking
in squirts, right?
Yeah, we were checking when we were young.
It's insane.
Now they can't check till bantams. But the size differential, and when I played, you look at my hockey team photo, it was like here's everybody's heads.
And then there's you.
And then there's me. And then right.
That
because I was one of those kids that was like I said, I had
a growth spurt fairly early into your big guy.
So what ends up happening is if you wait too long, and I try to tell parents, what you wait too long is the kids don't learn how to tackle properly. So the first time they're doing it is in high school. And now they run into kids who've been playing for 4 or 5 years.
If my kid goes out his freshman year, makes the team, right, and he's never been tackled before in his life, and he's got some junior, senior linebackers,
right, and everybody makes the team. Remember that. Right. Everybody makes the team. Football is not like a cut sport, so everybody makes the team. And now you get there first day of practice. Here's a kid. They're like, all right, we're doing some tackling drills. Now it's not as many tackling drills as they used to, and it takes a little bit of time. But now we're doing tackling drills. And all right, the kid goes, all right, I want to play quarterback. Or I played flag football. I've been this great quarterback. Now he's standing there in the pocket. There's never been a pass rush.
Some guy comes flying up the A gap and lights you up.
And then you got some kid who's been playing
shit.
Since he's been 7 years old, who's got technique down. I mean, he's dipping and ripping and, he's hitting like damn near a professional linebacker. He's down, dropping low, his head's to the side. And that's what I think ends up happening for kids who wait too long.
Yeah.
They don't get that exposure to like, if you play at 6 years old and you don't like getting hit, you ain't playing.
That's it.
And you don't have to worry about no injuries. You wait too long, now it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like I said, and the same thing with youth hockey.
It's very similar to youth hockey.
You go up there, for one, like you said, kids, I always say, need to learn how to receive hits.
Right.
How to roll your shoulder the right way.
Protect
yourself. You're chipping a puck high off the board. You got a hit coming in.
Right.
How to protect yourself, right? And also to play responsibly. I see so many guys and kids now skating just through the neutral zone with their head down.
That's it.
Just asking to get lit up.
You can get away with it in Pee Wee.
Can get away with it in Pee Wee, dude. That ain't going to cut it when you get to a higher level of hockey. No. Some guy is going to light you up.
Right. It's in Pee Wee. You go, you know what? It's cool to be Connor McDavid at Pee Wee. You go from one goal line to the other one and just skate around everybody. And next thing you know, top shelf. But when you do get to where you start checking and you got your head down, somebody's going to light you up. But I would say hockey is very similar to kind of what's going on in football and how, waiting too long sometimes can be more of a detriment.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. Next segment we're going into really quick here. Pats have had I'm sure you've talked about this ad nauseum on EEI. Pretty lackluster, mediocre hand job of a fucking offseason.
Right.
I mean, do you think Bill spent money at the wrong time? Do you think it should have been this season instead of last season?
Well, no. I thought that based on what we saw last year, that all right, Bill was changing the way he did business because it's easier to do business with Brady, right? It's easy to do it that way. So now you didn't have Brady no more. So I thought maybe the philosophy was, all right, we're going to be players in free agency. And I know they spent a shit ton of money last year, but now we're going to be more of players in free agency. And maybe you're not spending a whole bunch of money like you did last year, but you're active, right? You're making move on, whether it's Allen Robinson or Chandler Jones.
I'm so mad they missed out on Allen Robinson.
Right,
I love him.
But at least you know what? You're sitting down and you're going, okay, I'm gonna play this hand. It's like, like I was a big poker player playing, growing up.
You got to call Jay Fine.
Yeah, so you're a big poker player?
Oh, yeah.
So the Patriots are the team that they're sitting and waiting for pocket aces.
This is right. Yeah, that's what a phenomenal analogy.
Right?
Yeah.
And even when they get pocket aces, they're kind of like, they're not going all in. They're just like, they're betting just enough. So I think that's I thought they were going to be more aggressive on how they did things because guess what? You could play that way before because you always had Brady, who was your pocket aces, but now I don't think you could do that. You have to be more aggressive in how you go into free agency. And that to me was just a shocker, like what Bill's doing. Like, Bill, what, as a fan.
It feels like we ended up with all the, it really does feel, I know we all wanted to compete last season.
Right.
Everybody wanted something better than the Cam Newton season, right? Everybody. I get it. It was great to see Bill being proactive about it. But now looking back, I'm like, what? And you're seeing these guys, like you're seeing all these receivers flying around everywhere. I would have liked to snag Allen Robb. By the way, the cap doesn't exist in the NFL. I don't know.
No.
The Rams are inventing shit at this point.
No. It's the cap is crap.
The cap is
Mike
crap.
Felger's been saying that for the longest time, and
he's right.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But you see guys like again Amari Cooper for the 5th and 6th.
Yep.
Robert Woods for a 5th.
Right.
I mean, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
What are we doing? If I'm a guy like, I think Bill, as far as the free agency acquisitions last year, I think he went 1 for 5 maybe. Was Jalen Mills and Davon Godchaux worth the money? I know Judon obviously was.
Well, so you would say last year, right? Based off of what we know last year.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say a hit, like, okay, this guy contributed and he was a solid player.
Correct.
So I would say you hit on Judon.
Yeah,
you hit on
absolutely.
Hunter Henry.
Correct.
You probably hit on Godchaux, right?
He was only 2 years, so that wasn't that bad.
Right. Jalen Mills, it's kind of like, maybe it's a hit, but it's not like the spectacular hit, right?
Jonnu Smith, what
Jonnu Smith
I don't know what's going
and Nelson
on here.
Aguilar were complete miss. You hit on Kendrick Bourne. But that's generally what free agency is, right?
I get that,
It's like, all right, you're not going to hit on every single guy.
Right.
Right? And so because they missed on a few guys, is that now the mindset of, well, we're not going to pay guys?
That's my right, and that's what I'm saying is like, do we? It's weird. Like, you look at they probably broke even, I guess you could say, in free agency. You missed on 2. You got 1 that kind of broke even with Davon Godchaux, and then you had 2 that kind of landed for you. I would say, like you said, Hunter Henry and obviously Judon. Right. I just don't know what is keep what everybody else. Does Bill just not want to spend the money? What is he? Is he kind of?
See, I would say normally yes, but what happened last year that you spent the money? Well, why did you spend it last year? See, because people would say, well, Bill don't want to spend money. Well, why did he spend it last year?
Do you think he was trying to catch back up to Brady? Do you think the Brady thing made him feel like kind of like inferior and stuff like?
Well, then if you feel that way, then what has changed from last year to this year that you wouldn't continue that?
Exactly. That's my point. You had you got a couple nice free agents last year, you know what I'm saying? And now the field is so much broader. There's so much better talent available this year.
Right.
You think he would have been like, oh, absolutely, we're going out there. Plus, you didn't re-sign Karras. Right. You traded Shaq Mason.
Yep.
So you have some money to play with here, and you're just watching teams pass you. Everybody else is getting better.
Right. And I think, so now it becomes, well, is it Bill back to what Bill is used to doing in the past, or is it
Please God, no. I can't do another Razai Dowling
no.
from Will Hyde era.
Is it a Robert Kraft stepping in and going, all right, well, we hit on a few guys last year, and normally that's not how we do it, So I think that's like the dynamic that everybody's struggling with is like looking at it and going like, especially when you had a team, did Bill in his mind think that they overachieved last year? But why would you spend all this money prior to the season in free agency if you think you were only going to have a team that was just going to be okay?
Right.
You know what I mean? You spent too much money. So it's like the $1 million question that we're trying to figure out, like what is going on in free agency that is making your biggest move right now is probably what, Ty Montgomery?
Yeah, it's weird.
Like
I didn't know he was in the league still.
Non-Patriot player who was with you last year.
Right.
So when you think of free agency, that's what we think about. Maybe where, like, if you re-sign J.C. Jackson, go, okay, but
Would you have paid him?
I would have paid him. But when you look at the non players you re-signed that were Patriots last year, your biggest move is Ty Montgomery, and you just wonder, like, what is Bill seeing when you look at the team and you go, okay, on paper, they got a lot of holes that they need to fill.
Yeah.
Right? You need somebody opposite of Matthew Judon, which Von Miller was out there. Chandler Jones was out there. The kid, Zadarius Smith who just signed with the Viking, was out. So you had three really good.
Randy Gregory was out there.
Yes. DeMarcus Lawrence was
out
so
there.
there were plenty of guys to fill that spot, right? You look at, maybe you want to go the inside linebacker route of go in the draft. Maybe you didn't feel like there were enough guys in free agency. I felt like the wide receiver, there were plenty of guys out there.
Absolutely.
Where I don't want to pay a guy $16, $17 million. You don't want to pay Allen Robinson that kind of money. You don't want to pay Amari Cooper that kind of money.
I hope he's not gun shy because he missed on Aguilar, who everybody knows can't catch the ball anyways.
Right. So did that make you gun shy, right? And then you start to look and you go, what's going on here where, you're not making these moves? What's got you gun shy? What's got you not wanting to spend money? Is it you? Is it Kraft saying, well, you know what? We're going to tighten it up a little bit. Like you said, we missed on a couple guys last year. It scared us back into what we used to be before. So I ultimately just, I battle with this question all the time. I don't understand what Bill is doing in this situation.
And the other thing is I don't understand also, do we have the least likable coaching staff on planet Earth right now at this point?
Right, but that, I'm not as big as panties in a bunch type of who's on your coaching staff? Who's this Nick Caley? Why are you bringing back Joe Judge and why are you bringing back Matt Patricia? Like that to me, I'm not super concerned about that. Because no one knew who Josh McDaniel was back in 2004.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No one knew who Matt Patricia was until 2017, whatever it was.
Nobody knew who Brian Flores was. So that, I think, when you look at maybe Bill, his coaching style, and he's kind of always been this way, is kind of like, all right, I'm going to take these no-namers, I'm going to groom them, they're going to climb up the ladder. Where some guys, coaches you start to see, they go and get that hot young coordinator, right? Mm-hmm. But that's Bill's. But I don't really find that to be a major issue. I'm more concerned for Mac Jones and how his relationship is with whoever the new quarterback coach is, right?
Right.
And then who becomes the play caller.
Did you want Bill back, O'Brien?
I would have took Bill. I would have took Billy O back.
I think Bill's an asshole, but
but I think his personality is different. But I think as an offensive coordinator, I think he's established, right? So now you're going with an unestablished guy who, whether it's Nick Caley or whether it's Joe Judge, because I don't think it's going to be Matt Patricia, right? Whether it's one of those two guys who now takes on, and when I say the offensive coordinator role, I mean more of the guy who's calling the plays on Sunday on the sidelines.
Yep.
And the guy that's going to, when Mac Jones goes sit down, he's going to sit right next to him. They're going to go over the Microsoft and say, hey, what you see here? What was this here? Go through the pitches. And then who is that guy? And then who is the guy who's in his ear calling the plays? And so now that's where I see maybe the concern might be the relationship. Because I don't know, maybe Nick Caley could be good, and who the hell knows? In another year or two, Nick Caley's the next hot and coming thing. We see it all the time in coaching.
Exactly. Yeah, that could very well be it could be, but like you said,
if you're one of those people like Chris Curtis, I'm on the Greg Hill show. Yep. Chris Curtis is one of those the coaching staff. So if you're one of those people where you think like that, if that's the way you think, then this coaching staff to you is going to look like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm not as kind of tripping on that.
I just think Mac needs a veteran guy in his ear, to be honest with you. I don't like Bill O'Brien, but I would trust him with Mac.
Right, because you feel like you don't know what Nick Caley is or Joe Judge, right?
Right.
And Joe Judge, based on what we know, he's more of a special teams, guy.
Did that hiring in New York make any sense to you? Really quick side note: the special teams guy getting a head coach gig like that.
You know what? It didn't. But then again, they hire people all the time, and then I'm like, I don't know why they hired that guy. And I think it's more because, maybe he was on Bill's staff. Bill has a lot to do with it. If you coach on the Bill, there's a good chance that somebody's gonna,
want to poach you from somewhere.
Yeah, I think bring me some of that Bill magic. Even though the guys that have that have been under the Bill coaching tree and went other places haven't had the same success, but they just think that because you were on his coaching staff, you're going to bring that magic.
The thing that surprised me with this J.C. Jackson of the Chargers thing was like the franchise tag was 17-something million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he sign for that per year? Didn't he get like 5 for 82?
Yeah,
it's like the same amount that he would have.
No, so I heard we actually offered him more, but the guaranteed money and
it's more about anytime you see a contract, right? I always tell people this anytime. Never look at like the like Von Miller did 6 for 120. Never look at that. Always look at the fully guaranteed money. Not even the total guaranteed, the fully guaranteed. So he got fully guaranteed $40 million. So he's getting that. And then I think his third year was like another 17. So there's a good chance that he probably gets, it's a 3-year deal and he ends up getting like 50-something million. That's what I always look at. Look at those type of numbers. And then you'll be able to determine, okay, was it because maybe New England was like, all right, we only want to give you 30 million in guaranteed or 25 million. Look at the fully guaranteed money. That will determine, like Von Miller. Von Miller goes to Buffalo. His contract is basically a 3-year deal with about 54 million fully guaranteed, or 38 of it fully guaranteed, and then that third year you can kind of look at it like, all right, here's what he's probably going to end up making, and that's what the J.C. Jackson deal is looking like. Right. So that's what you have to look at. You see, like whether it was the Allen Robinson deal, I can't remember what his fully guaranteed numbers were. I want to say
he signed for 3 for 45, so I'm guessing the guaranteed somewhere around 30.
And so now you look at, okay, this is a definite 2 and 30. So what puts him at about 15 million a year, right? And then that third year is always like, all right, let's see what that third year is. If it's a 3-year deal, there's a good chance that you probably get that. If it's like a 5 or a 6-year deal, then you're probably only getting a 3-year deal unless you continue to outplay it. So I think, was Bill not willing to spend 40 to, let's call it 55, 58 million to bring J.C. Jackson back?
Now, and the other thing, last thing is, like, if I'm J.C. Jackson, right? 1, the Chargers are offering me more guaranteed. I get that. 2, if you're looking at the roster composition here, they just traded for Khalil Mack.
Yep.
They re-signed Mike Williams.
Right.
I'm like, these guys are going for it.
Right.
I'm like, we're sitting here doing jack shit. I'm out of here. I'm going to LA.
You got Justin Herbert, who looks like he's gonna be. But even then, players, especially their first contracts, like a J.C. Jackson, it's always about the money.
Oh yeah.
It is always, and rightfully, I don't blame him either, because you never know. One injury, boom, your football career is over.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not like other sports where it's guaranteed. So I always look at, and I think we're talking about this on the show, is like Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk went to Jacksonville only because Jacksonville offered him the most amount of money.
They've had the work. I honest to God, I would rather the Patriots have their offseason than Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville paid everybody's like third best player way too much money.
Right, now that's a different conversation, whether or not they overpaid a guy. But when guys are going places in free agency, everybody says, oh, well, you get somebody to come here and take less money. No, you ain't getting a guy to take less money. Like, you could have got Von Miller, but you were going to have to pay him.
Right.
Von Miller's not going to say, oh, I'm going to go to Buffalo for less.
The Patriot winning discount isn't there anymore. The Brady factor isn't there anymore.
That is not there, especially because the Brady factor is not there. And the factor of like, all right, well, they sure seem like they're still a good football team, but there's no guarantee that they're going to be. And so now I think, and you're going to need players like a Von Miller who's like, all right, I got 2 championship rings. Maybe I'll go to New England for $12 million a year versus going to, or maybe I'll go to New England for $25 million guaranteed versus going to Buffalo for 30.
And meanwhile, you look at the guy, like how guys want to spend. A guy like who's won 2 Super Bowls already, like Von Miller, you got to think at that point, like, he's won everything he needs to, wants to win. So a place like, I'm surprised he went to Buffalo. I mean, obviously the guaranteed money was that high, but like, again, a destination spot, I call it, somewhere like Miami, Tampa.
But see, I don't think he's in that mode. I think Von Miller's in the mode of like, who's going to give me the most amount of money?
Sure.
And where do I have a chance of winning? Right. So I'm probably not going to take $55 million to go to Jacksonville, for example.
Right.
But I will take $55 million to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Or I'll
1,000%.
even take like $50 million to go to Buffalo.
Right.
Because I'm going to get my money, and B, I'm still going to have a chance to win. So I think when you're in that Von Miller state, because you had already won a Super Bowl and then you would basically 2 Super Bowls. Now when you start to look at like some of the other players and you look at and you go, okay, Jason Pierre-Paul, right? He's won a Super Bowl.
2 now.
Oh yeah, that's right. 2 Super Bowls, excuse me.
Mm.
And now, all right, maybe he might look and go, where can I make the most money?
My last payday.
Yeah, my last payday, and maybe still have a chance to win. I
I'm
don't
a
want
veteran somewhere that won't break my balls.
Yeah, I don't want to
You know what
go
I'm saying?
somewhere and just get a payday and we suck. I still want to be like, names in the light. So he's somebody to look at. Now, if somebody doesn't have no Super Bowls, then maybe they go, okay, can I go someplace, a veteran who goes, I'm still going to get money, but I'm going to have a chance to win.
Someone like Akeem Hicks, who's still a free agent, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
He's
You
out
go,
there too.
like, all right, I'm still going to have a chance to win. And then I think maybe that's when you taking a little bit less to go someplace and win comes into play, but a little bit less is a little bit
Yeah,
less. It's not like, all right, we're gonna, they're offering me 30 and you're offering me 15.
Right.
I'm not coming to you for 15. So there's a like that. I'm gonna take a haircut. Yeah, just cut a little bit off the top.
Yeah, right,
so I think
exactly.
that's the biggest thing. And the Patriots, if they're willing to spend the money, I think they can get the guys. But it doesn't even seem like they're willing to do that.
And the closing point on this is we just went over the 2019 draft last week, Jay Fine.
We went back a few years.
Okay.
A few years.
From 2019. Yeah.
Wiggy, the only guy, I think it was just Damian Harris was the only hit of the whole draft.
Yeah, they have not been good drafters. As of late,
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not even you got this homegrown talent. I got to say, people can shit talk Mike Tomlin all they want.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's he might be the best drafter in the league.
Well, I think it would be the GM. I don't know. I forget what.
Or
the GM,
I'm sorry, the GM. Was it Kevin Colbert for all
yeah,
those
it
years,
might
right?
be for Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Even still, but you have a guy right there. Like, the thing is, Pittsburgh has an established GM
Right.
and a head coach, not Bill doing both.
Well, that's what I'll say. Bill has missed on a couple draft picks, but if you go back and you look at, who they say are the top GMs, everybody misses on draft picks, right?
Oh, 1,000%.
It's just, it's been here a little bit recently with Bill. It's like, oh man, he's missed on some guys. So I think that's why Bill gets criticized a little bit as far as now, granted, you might say he missed on certain guys, but you did have a guy like Sony Michel help you win a Super Bowl. It's like you have to kind of look and go.
Did you need the first round pick on that guy, though?
Yeah, see, I understand that point.
You know what I mean?
I understand that point, but then you start to factor in the GM not only does draft, he does free agency. So I never give Bill as much shit as other people when it comes to him as a
Bill, the
front
GM,
office,
yeah.
because you got to look at this, right? If you went and look and you go, the last 5 years, Bill as a GM, you won what? 2 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah,
And what other GM can say that? Like, that's how I view that, right? So that I think is the thing. Like, I don't give him as much. Has he missed on some guys? Yeah, but every GM does that. As the N'Keal Harris, Isaiah Wynn doesn't look like he's panning out. So
You don't think so?
Not really. I'm not sold on him as a left tackle.
Really?
I don't.
You think he's a guard?
Left tackle, he's given up a ton of sacks. He's been hurt for a few times. So
That too.
yeah, it's just, but when you start to look at like Bill the GM, you got to look at it like from 30,000 feet, because people go, okay, the last couple of years, and I agree with that. But you also, he's a guy that's in the last 5 years, you've been to 2 Super Bowls and been pretty successful.
I think this is going to be the biggest year of Bill's career, and see what he gets out of this team.
Yeah,
I not big career, not career, but I'm
I mean, I
that's
know what you're
hyperbole,
saying.
but you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you're saying.
I think this is going to be like, okay, you're not going to spend this. Like, now you better come up with something.
He's gonna have to. We interview him every Monday on the Greg Hill Show, and he is gonna have a lot of questions that, he probably won't answer
That's
them.
right.
But there's gonna be a lot of questions thrown his way, like especially if the team's not doing well.
Yeah.
If
we're looking at another 6-12, so whatever the hell it is, or something like that.
Yeah,
something worse than last year.
Well, yeah, which based on if you just step back and you looked at it, and I'm a diehard Pats fan, just like the next guy. But if you step back and you look at it, and you look at their schedule, and you look at what everybody else is doing in the AFC, You go, whew. You got to play Cleveland. They're better with Deshaun. You got to play the Colts. They're better with Matt Ryan.
I agree.
You got to play Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, if he's healthy, they're going to be better.
Yep.
You got to play Denver.
They're better.
They're better.
Yep.
Right? Did they play Denver this year? No, I don't think they played Denver, but Denver got better.
So they're avoiding the AFC West.
Yeah, Denver got better.
Yep.
So as far as a wild card spot.
Miami and the Jets both got better.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's there. I'm not really concerned as much with the Jets, but Buffalo, you're chasing. It's Buffalo's.
Well,
I feel like Buffalo wins the division. Now you're chasing that wild card spot, but you're looking at the Chargers got better, Denver got better, the Raiders got better.
Yep.
Fucking, we just talked about Cleveland got better, the Colts got better. It's like Cincinnati.
Yep.
So now you're going, all right, what can we win our division? If not, then that means, all right, we have what? 7, 6, 5, 3 wild card spots, and you start to look at all these teams that got better. So I think that's like when you look at it, it's like it's going to be an uphill battle for them on the field, especially when you start to see the team that they're putting on the field.
Yeah. Again, if he's anything less than last year, he's going to have some. He's going to have some issues. I feel bad. You got to get going. I don't want to hold you up.
Like a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Chop it up for a couple more.
Just let me know.
Got it.
Real quick, we have a question from the live stream here. Can you touch on your rivalry with Steve Smith and kind of they want to know a little bit about him on and off the field, and what are your thoughts on that?
I would say this. I've had the opportunity to play with a ton of wide receivers, great wide receivers. I would say Steve Smith is probably one of the top 5 best wide receivers that I've ever played with. And when you look at talent-wise, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Him and I had a situation back, some years ago, where I had said something on the radio that, I felt like as a player in the locker room, he could be a little bit of a bully, bullying certain guys. He didn't like that. I saw him. Some words were exchanged. Nothing physical happened. Like I said, I only have a little bit of gas left in the tank, right? And and then now he's gone on to basically do what it is he got mad at me for doing, which is kind of talking about people in sports and everything. But you got to play with a lot of guys on a lot of different teams. Some guys you're going to rock with. Some guys, you're not going to be fans. And I remember Wesley Walls, who was on that team, or, Carolina.
Tight end.
Yeah, tight end, was like, listen, I'm not going to like all you guys, but as long as I can count on you between the lines, that's all that matters. And I think that's what, was part of Steve Smith's DNA, was the fact that, which made him a great player, is the fact that he always wanted to prove people wrong. And, that's probably why he's going to be a guy who's going to go into the Hall of Fame. So, we had our words, but it is what it is, and he's doing his thing and I'm doing mine.
I think Steve, I was never a huge, I always respected Steve's talent. I never was a huge fan of him, like with his mouth and everything. Like, again, not that I don't like guys that talk. I love a guy that can talk. Love that. But like you said, Steve always struck me as somebody who was like I remember he had like a situation where like he sucker punched a teammate or something like that. Right. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm like, dude, and a guy who coaches now, I coach like high school baseball still. I never understood the mentality of fighting with guys like you're on.
But I think a lot of it becomes, it is an acquired taste. But I think a lot of it is about how you come up as an athlete.
Yeah. And
part of his background of coming up as an athlete, where he had to fight for a lot of things, and so that's kind of like part of your DNA. And you're gonna have guys like that's how they are. They're very like what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you see them on the field, they play with everything they got. They're explosive. They're
never question his effort.
They're like confrontational because this is how they have to make themselves. And this is how they fought their whole career. And so this becomes part of it. And then like I told him, I said, well, that was the younger Steve Smith, because we were talking about him coming to New England. And I was like, I'll take him in a minute. But I remember the younger Steve Smith, and every player has to mature. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing, Yeah,
exactly. It's about kind of right. And that goes in like, you have to transition at some point out of that mentality. Right. Well, not out of the mentality, but kind of like make it a part of you as an adult and kind of use that fuel for like different
And
things.
so I was with him as the early part of the career, the same way I was with Brady. And so I wasn't with him in the later parts of his career where he might have changed and it might have been a different player. So, but that's kind of what that whole thing was.
Do you remember your welcome to the NFL moment? Did you have one? Were you were trying to block? Like, did they put you on a guy to block on a play and dude kind of just gashed you or something like that?
I like my welcome to the NFL moment might have been, I think it was my rookie year when I got a chance to play. I was playing with the Jets, or maybe my
undrafted free agent.
Yeah, undrafted. And it was actually against New England, and it was going against Willie McGinnis. And I was like,
that's hilarious. Really.
I was like, man, because he had these long, and I remember when they drafted him, right? And he had these long arms, and he was big, and he was physical, and I was like, damn, these are guys I'm supposed to block. Yeah. Like that was like I couldn't block them.
He looks like he could still play.
Yeah. Willie's one of those guys that he definitely does look like he still play. Like my thing was running routes and getting open. I could catch everything, and I felt like nobody could cover me. But my welcome to the NFL moment was like, remembering Willie as a fan, watching him, and then actually being on the field because it was him and Chris Slade.
Yeah,
and I remember coming up here to play. And I got an opportunity to get like we call them, get a couple crumbs. And I was like, man. And I was like, okay, wow. We're
in the show.
Yeah, I mean, there's like my training camp moments. You going against your own guys, Mo Lewis. But you got to factor in you're doing this now. And now there's,
60,000 people watching you.
Right. I'll never forget.
The game's on TV.
Right. I'll never forget my first play in the NFL. I get in a huddle and I was with the Jets. And Richie Anderson, who was like
who's the quarterback? Testaverde?
Testaverde was the quarterback. And Richie Anderson was a really good football player.
Greaser, by the way.
He was a hybrid fullback, running back, could do pretty much everything. Testaverde was the quarterback. And Fred, what was Fred's last name? Why am I drawing a blank on his last name right now?
Playing for the Jets or for the Pats?
Yeah, no, he played for the Jets, tight end. Fred Baxter. I was drawing a blank. He had got nicked up. And so I had I was just like a special teams guy, and I got in the game. My first action in the huddle. And I remember Testaverde coming in the huddle. And I'm in the huddle, and we're playing obviously at home, and there's just sea of people, and it's like he comes in the huddle and he's like, trips right, break. I didn't hear anything.
And you're like, what the fuck did this guy just call?
I had no idea what he called, what he said.
Hysterical.
Nothing.
Love it.
All I heard was break. And I was like, oh shit, what's the play? And Richie was next to me, and I was like, Richie, what's it on?
Yeah.
I had no idea what the play was. I had no idea what the snap count was. I was like, fuck. And I'm looking out of the corner of my eye. I'm like kind of waiting for the ball to be snapped. I don't know if I'm supposed to run a route or block.
You're 2 seconds late off the line.
I'm just like looking, and as soon as the ball moves, I'm like, please be a run, because I'm just going to block the guy in front of me.
Right.
When all else fails, block the guy in front of you. And like that was like my first introduction to the NFL as like a player, and how the game was just like, what? We call it's like trips right, two jet, wide go, Z slant, halfback swing. And you hear none of that, and it's like on one. And you don't even hear the snap count, and you're walking up to the line, and you're like, what happened? Richie's next to me. I'm trying to like, what do you say?
Then you're thinking like, I'm going to fuck this up, and they're never going to put me on.
Right. I'm never going to play. I'm going to get cut tomorrow. Richie's thinking about his own shit. He's not worried about telling me to play. Yeah. I'm looking around. I'm like, there's this giant of a man in front of me.
Hysterical.
And it's like, I think we were playing against the Buffalo Bills, so I don't even remember who was in front of me. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And I was just like, and that was like, welcome to the league. And what's crazy is I remember that. But then I remembered as I started to play, everything became, I remember then when I really started to get more and more playing time, and when I, when I got to Minnesota and I, was doing well over there, I remember there were times that I was looking at the coverage and the quarterback was calling the play, and I knew exactly what was going, like the game slowed down so much.
Yeah.
Where I could be doing so much other shit, and he's calling the play. Like, I don't even really need to be in the huddle looking at you. Just call the play. I'm looking at the coverages, this, that, and the other. And it was like, boom, coming up there. And I'm thinking about 4, 5, 6 different things before, looking at guys. Is he light? Is he on his toes? And just the way the game changed for me.
Yeah.
To go from, wow, this is what it was like to this is where I got. It like that whole element was like,
game went from being in fast forward to now you're in like
slow motion.
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh shit, I see you coming. You ain't fooling nobody. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like slow motion of it. And that was like you said, that was like, oh man, that first time of like, am I gonna get cut to? The more and more you play, the more and more you start to learn and study and to get comfortable. So I could see like guys like Brady, it's like
for an undrafted guy, like dude, like the stress that people don't talk about enough on you guys is to like, I just don't know that it's like every day, like you don't know. You're like, did I fuck something up?
Every day.
Did I do something? Like, am I gonna get cut? Is this the day? Is
every
it over
day.
now?
It's like every single day, every play, you're like, oh my God, is this the day I'm gonna get cut? Is this the day that the Reaper's gonna come get me? Like every training camp, you're looking at your phone, you're like, okay. Cut time's 4 o'clock. What time is it? 3:57.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I could never do that.
You're waking up. You're like, oh shit. Am I waking up? Oh,
my agent didn't call me yet. This is awesome.
Yeah, no. Usually you get a call. Like, hey, you get a call. It's like,
coach wants to see.
Coach wants to see. Bring your playbook. So you're like, you're looking at it. You know, it's like Saturday, the deadline. You're like, all right, it's 2:30. I still haven't got a call yet. All right, I'm good. It's 2:35. I still haven't got a call yet. I'm good. It's 2:40. It's 2:50. You're like, oh my God.
I couldn't handle that.
4 o'clock.
I would need medication.
It's like,
couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and then that's what it's like. And then it's like, oh, whoo, I finally made it. And then it's like, oh shit.
Now you're a big you're
hello.
Yeah.
Bring my playbook. All right.
Oh my God.
Then it's call my wife, babe. I'm gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah, I'm coming home. I'll be back.
I remember I got cut from the Jets. And I was home playing like tag rush with the guys at the stadium in East Boston, like just trying to stay in shape, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's what it was. It was like, is that it? Like, so my career could have been like, you know, forget about you and I talking here. We'd still probably be talking, but I would just be, you know, we're on our own podcast.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know, because I remember
this guy who played for the Jets for a half hour.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. I remember played for the Jets. I was with them a half hour, and then I was, you know, and then I started. You know, I'm like a legend when it comes to tag rush, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm down.
And I remember playing tag rush and like, and like that's what I was doing, like to kind of stay in shape and still. And then, you know, fortunately I got another opportunity and, you know, just run, you know, I was able to run with it. But that's kind of what the career was like. I could have just been the guy who had the cup of coffee and was playing tag rush.
I know. And it's crazy how like it works out like that with some guys. Like everybody has a different path to the league.
Right.
I guess it's just a matter of what you do with it when you get there. You know what I'm saying? But even yours is filled with that uncertainty in the beginning, the early days.
Right.
Because you ended up playing what in the NFL, like 8 years?
8 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's a damn good career, man.
Yeah.
The average is 3.
Yeah, the average is 3.
You were there 5 longer than the average guy, man.
That is true. And I set a couple records at that level. So go figure, right?
Absolutely. No, 100%. And how do you call it? I mean, we talked about this on the phone the other day. When a guy comes home, you see this with the Bruins. You don't see it as much with the Celtics, sometimes with the Red Sox. When a guy comes home to play for his hometown team, and the whole thing becomes, can you get me tickets?
Yeah.
What's up? This, that, and you're a city guy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got to be triple what it is for anybody else from a regular, how do you
Right.
With people like, yo, hook it up, this, that, and the other thing. People thinking you owe them something. You talked to me briefly about this in the pre-interview.
Yeah.
How did you, and you basically just had a couple of guys that were like, listen, don't break his
Yeah.
balls.
I had a couple guys that were kind of like, you know, guys I grew up with that were like the buffer, you know, and if it was like, if I knew you and I was hanging out with you and like, you know, you were calling me to see how I was doing, like, all right, not a problem. I'll take care of you. But if like I didn't know you or something like that, and you know, like if I had to go to my buddy, like, hey, who's that again?
Yeah, you already know. Like
you know what I mean. Exactly. If my buddy goes,
if I could ask who you are, like, no,
like if I'm standing there and you know somebody's walking up to me and my buddy goes, yo, that's Jimmy. Jimmy, you remember Jimmy from so and so? That's Jimmy.
Be like, no, that's why I'm asking.
And he's like, tell him. He's like, yeah, that's Jimmy. And you're like, oh, what's up, kid? How the fuck you been? You know,
right.
It's like, you know, oh, you know, can you get me some tickets? Like, oh, I don't know. Like, you knew, like, I always had like a nice little buffer of the couple kids that always made sure that, like, you know, like they would be like, you know, they like people would go, hey, you think you could get me tickets? And then they would go to them, and then they would bring to me like, yo, so-and-so's looking for tickets. Can you get them some?
And you had to trust them at that point to be like, yo, don't come to me with some clown kid that I don't even fucking know.
They knew they weren't coming to me with like, they knew like if they knew exactly. I didn't even have to tell them that. It was like, yeah, we're not gonna go to you with no bullshit.
No, exactly. Yeah. Where you like to eat?
Well, I mean, I'm an East Boston guy, so I mean, there's a ton of places, obviously.
I'm a Kelly's Pub guy till I fucking die.
Oh, yeah, Kelly's Pub.
I used to work at the one in Peabody.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for the
yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah. I think it's the most underrated pizza in the whole state.
Oh, Kelly's is good. Kid Dan was telling me, my best friend, his wife Susan works there. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so Kelly's is really good.
You a Javelli's guy?
I was a Javelli's guy. My mother used to love Javelli's, but I remember when Kelly's Pub used to be down Central Square.
Yeah, Central Square, right.
And Snapper used to work there, obviously.
Bartending forever, yep.
Yeah. Mark Janger and Wayne Janger, they were brothers. So I know you said maybe your dad knows those guys.
They were his best friends,
So I remember when Kelly's was there, and then Kelly's moved to where it is now.
Bennington Street now.
Yeah, but across the street we grew up, that's where we used to watch the Bruins games. I used to be Christie's Pizza.
Oh, that's right.
And like a lot of the kids, like, Nicky Verano's, Nicky Verano.
Yeah, of course.
He had Victor's, his uncle had right across from Kelly's. There was a corner store there. That's where Nicky, I always tell people like all the time, like everybody's, oh, Nicky's he's a great guy. I know Nicky. Everybody know he's got the wrestlers. I'm like, I remember when Nicky used to make the subs and his uncle's stuff in the back, and make the subs right in there. And I'd go in there and he'd know exactly what I want. I'd buy cigarettes for my grandmother because I lived right around the corner on Saratoga Street. Right. So a lot of these places like, Kelly's that have been around for a while,
How are you on Tops?
I love Tops. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, because I love the cornmeal on the bottom of the pizza.
Yeah, so you know what? I think Tops is a fork and knife pizza. I think it's good. I can't lie. I think it's a little bit... I do think it's a little overrated. I'm not trying to drop a hot take here.
Okay, all right.
But you know what it is though? I don't like a heavy pie. I don't like a heavy pizza.
Okay.
So for people that like heavy pizza, you'll love Sant'Apio's.
Well, they put Sant'Apio's puts their toppings underneath the cheese.
Right.
Yeah. So you grew up on whether it was Kelly's, Christie's Pizza, the Cooper's, that's kind of still up the heights.
Cucciello's had a decent bakery pizza
Cucciello had, but his was more the Sicilian style pizza, right? So obviously Sant'Apio's, those are kind of like the pizza places that you grew up on in Eastie. Then the roast beef joints are big. I was big.
We're a big Royal roast beef podcast.
Royals is big.
I fucking love it.
Royals is huge.
I think I could seafood and
every now and then we used to go into Beachmont. Beachmont's roast beef is good. We used to have Riley's roast beef, which was right in Day Square. We used to love Riley's, but the roast beef. And then then there's obviously like Meridian Market. Subs were big. So Meridian Market. Roy's Cold Cuts. Yeah. Roy's.
That guy doesn't fuck around, man.
Roy's was big for me because I was a boys club kid. And the boys club is we used to be right around the corner from Roy's. So you go, my mother would be like, 9 o'clock when the boys club opened till fucking 9 o'clock when it closed. Yeah. That's where you were. You came home from I think they shut from like 5 to 6. You come home for dinner. But it was like, if you could scrounge up $5 from somebody, you were going to Roy's 100%. To get a sub or get a slushy.
That guy hooked you up.
Yeah, got a slushy or something like that. And so Roy's, and then he used to put a ton of meat. Like when you got the Italian, it was just nothing but meat on meat on meat. So, but those are the subs I grew up on, just chicken palms from there.
We say it all the time. You guys, my father too, North End guy, you guys were so spoiled with food.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, the North End was big.
Even Little Asia's got great Chinese food.
We used to go to the feast. So yeah, Little Asia's good. Obviously we grew up on Chinese Dragon and Great Chef. It's so, they're so good everywhere. It's like, I love Meridian Market. I love Milano's. I
heard they got a great chicken palm Milano. They got a good everything in there.
So
honestly.
It's like, that's the thing about, I always felt like living in East Boston, you could never go wrong.
No.
Whether you lived up the Heights, right? If you were Heights, you probably were more Milano's, right?
Sure.
If you were somebody who lived, like I lived in the middle of Eastie, so I was more like Day Square, Central Square. I was between there.
Yeah, right.
So I was Roy's, Meridian Market a little bit.
Saying Christie's and stuff. Yeah, right.
Christie's.
Yeah.
Sonny Noto's. right? That's
phenomenal place.
Yeah.
Too. Sonny knows it's so good.
That's where I was. Kelly's, out to Cooper's. I was like in that world.
Yep.
Then you go down to the Point, and the Point was what the hell's the name of that sub shop? Right on around the corner, right on Everett. And
I can't remember. I know where you're talking about. I can't remember for the life of me.
Right, I forget the name of it. But then there was like, so you everywhere you were, you had like pockets to like, oh, I could get us food anywhere.
Yeah,
you know, pizza. Like if you were down the, down the Point, you could easily get Tops. If you were me, you could go to whether it was Christie's or Kelly's or the Coopers, and then you had just your spots up the
and
heights.
People, I say it all the time. One of like the Massachusetts nuances is like people will go to Tops based on who's making the pizza that day.
Yeah.
Like that's how into Tops pizza people are.
Because it was nothing like it used to be pizza and
the lamb tips and shit,
the
right?
lamb,
the
lamb and the sausage. Now I think they do steak tips and some other things.
I love their lamb and sausage. I think it's good. And I don't even think I'm never saying their pizza's bad.
Right.
So Toppio's is a good pizza. I just putting it in the top 5 in the state. I have a little bit of an issue with, but like, again, if you like heavy pizza, Tops is a good pizza. Like, you should
I like
definitely
the cornmeal on the bottom of my
it's
pizza.
right,
So
exactly. You know what I mean?
That's what does it for me. But I feel like in Eastie, it's you can't go wrong.
No,
as far
definitely
as like
not. So
food.
much good food in that.
Yeah,
neighborhood.
it's like and it's all in there. It's just in that neighborhood of. I don't feel like there's another neighborhood that like Eastie has all types of food covered for you for whatever you need.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
like
the North End's only got 2 Chinese food places,
right?
Which is Billy T's and China House.
Yeah, the North End is really strictly Italian food, right?
Yeah, right.
And some of the other places, like you can't really, like if you're like in like Dorchester or Roxbury, it's hard to find a good roast beef joint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Joe's Steak and Cheese is tremendous and Dudley, but it's hard to find a good roast beef joint.
Agree.
Southie, kind of like the same thing. So I feel like
Southie's got the new cool like restaurants and bars.
Yeah. But I guess I'm more talking about like when I was like.
Oh, your version of Southie is much different than
I want a sub. I want a roast beef.
Yeah, exactly. Closing point. I guess we could do. What's the worst Boston accent you've ever heard in TV or film?
Oh man,
you just said you were a big movie guy. I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
So I had to throw this at you.
I'm a huge movie guy. So the worst Boston accents in a movie.
Can I throw one at you just to get your brain?
Yeah. Give me.
The wife from Ray Donovan.
Okay, I never saw Ray Donovan. Was she bad?
The worst, maybe the worst I've ever heard. I got to say, in another bad one that like he doesn't have a lot of dialogue in the movie, and I love this guy more than like John Goodman in Patriots Day.
Okay,
that was brutal.
Okay,
I also don't think Kevin Bacon has a great one. I don't know how he keeps getting cast in
City
Boston
on the Hill.
Shit.
City on the Hill.
Mystic River too. Don't forget. Though.
Yeah. You talking about City on the Hill? His TV show.
Yeah, both of them.
The mother and Gone Baby Gone
has the best. The worst.
Yeah,
I thought she had the best one ever. Are you serious?
Yeah, the mother who she was also in The Office, right?
Wait a minute. Are you talking about the mother, the druggy mother, or are you talking about the mother, the guy Lionel's wife? Which mother are you talking about?
The Casey Affleck, Gone Baby Gone.
Okay.
The actress was also in The Office. You ever see The Office, the TV show?
She was Holly.
Yeah.
In The Office.
Oh, yeah. So it is the mother.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the guy Lionel's wife, the guy that ends up taking the kid and giving him to Morgan Freeman.
No. She was that. Do you know what I'm talking about, right?
I didn't realize she was on The Office.
Yeah.
And she played maybe I can't remember who her characters. Hers was pretty bad. I felt like hers.
I literally had her as my best.
It's funny. We had this discussion a few weeks ago and he loved it.
That's legit mind blowing.
And Alec Baldwin's in The Departed wasn't good.
Oh yeah,
I agree with you.
That one was bad.
No, absolutely. Martin Sheen's might have been a little bit worse.
Yeah. That one was bad.
I gotta say DiCaprio wasn't bad.
Right. He wasn't bad. What else? Let me see. What else?
You know who else was bad? That girl fucking. Did you see Spencer Confidential? That Mark.
Oh yeah.
But I think she was intentionally bad.
Right.
Like I think she was trying to be bad.
Okay.
Like I think that was kind of the thing where she was trying to be this stereotype. So I don't know if I can bash her too much.
All right.
It's
So
Eliza Scherzinger. But
and you know where you can get you can get some bad ones. I watched this TV show called Hightown.
What the fuck is that?
Hightown. It's basically like drugs on the Cape, and this.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good show, and it's like.
What's it on? Streaming.
It's on Stars.
Oh, okay.
And she works for like the girl who's kind of the main character. She works for like as a fishing police officer, and then she transitions into a state trooper who they're trying to deal with all the fentanyl on the Cape. And then there's like this Spanish guy who's like one of the main drug dealers. There's a couple, the guy who plays the main cop in that, you have to check out. His is pretty bad. He tries pretty hard, like not in a good way.
I just don't understand where the dissension comes from. How do you not just get a local person to like be a fucking consultant on any of these projects?
Yeah, you would think.
Get one guy. That's it.
Do they not do that though?
Well, it seems like they don't, because it's like you come
It's
in
so
and they're like,
bad.
no, it's gut. It's like,
Right.
no, it's not. It's gut. Like,
It's like you took my fucking daughter.
please stop. I can't even handle it.
I think the
really
Dunkin'
can't
Donuts commercials are the worst, man. The Dunkin' Donuts, they got some really bad
All
accents.
those are
Yeah.
bad too. Well, how do you feel about your cousin from Boston with the Sam Adams thing?
Oh yeah.
I
it's
don't.
another one.
He's so forced.
I'm not
so
a fan.
forced.
They pulled a couple of them off in The Fighter.
I thought Christian Bales was great
Yeah,
too.
you pulled a couple of them off in The Fighter.
Yep, and the mother too, Melissa Leo. She was great. In
Yeah,
that.
you
Yep.
you were able to every now and then when Mark Wahlberg plays his characters that are based out of here, he like in Spencer for Hire, he tries to turn it on a little bit. In The Departed, you turn it on a little bit. But
I thought he was a little more subtle in The Departed.
yeah, he wasn't as too bad. He wasn't or as bad as you would think.
What's your remote dropper movie? Like you come across it on TV, you're just like, I'm watching this.
I have so many. Training Day is probably number one on
That's
my
a
list.
good one. That's a really good one,
Right.
buddy.
Training Day
I like that.
is probably number one on
Mine
my
was
list.
always Rush Hour.
Rush Hour was good. The first one, right?
Yup.
Right. I just watched the remote dropper like a couple weeks ago. Was The King of New York? Remember that one?
No, why do I?
That's what Christopher Walken. See, some of these movies might have been a little bit.
But I like that you're bringing that right now. I
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
a little bit. It's like
but-
his rise to being like the main drug dealer in New York City.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like blows one for a lot of people too.
I see. I'm a fan of I think I like Kevin Bacon as an actor.
I do too.
Right.
I just wish he just did something different with that accent. I like Kevin Bacon a lot.
And I like Sean Penn. The Mystic River had a couple of them in that one. They
Yeah.
were a little bit like, oh.
No, for sure.
But yeah. So I would say anything with Denzel in it. Because I'm a huge Denzel fan.
Yeah. So American Gangster, you're dropping the remote.
Yeah, American Gangster. I liked.
You know what's his most underrated movie?
Which one?
Flight.
Flight. He was good in
Was
Flight.
unreal.
Yeah,
Flight
he
was unreal. That ending was like perfect.
Man on Fire. I love.
Yeah, Man on Fire was dope. Man on Fire was pretty awesome.
Let's see.
The Equalizer was pretty good
Yeah,
too.
then they made the sequel to The Equalizer.
Didn't need a sequel.
Yeah,
They
and
need
I
to stop doing
actually
that
think
shit,
they're
please.
doing another one.
Yeah, no, it's a TV show with Queen Latifah.
No. I think Denzel.
Oh, there's another movie.
Yeah, I think they're doing another Equalizer movie.
Why does he feel like he needs to do a third
I
Equalizer
don't
movie
know.
with all this? He
I
just
don't-
did fucking Macbeth.
Yeah, see, I don't. That's the one movie I'm like, I watch pretty much everything Denzel's in. I'll probably watch that because I'm a huge fan. But I'm like, I don't know how that one's gonna pull
What
it.
was your pregame playlist back like when you first got this late 90s? You first got to the league.
You know what's funny? I was a Biggie guy, but I wasn't a big pregame music guy in the locker room.
That's interesting.
I was more of like
I like that. That's interesting.
I was more of like a talker in the locker room. Like,
Yeah.
like I like to have fun.
You don't want to. You don't want to like dump all your adrenaline all at one point, vibing out to 50. You know?
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I was
getting
like, I
jacked
like
up.
to have fun. I used to do like diamond push-ups and have a good time. We used to have this thing with the Patriots. We used to have our road call, and so like I like to like have that. But I knew there were some guys that like only listen to some. Antoine Winfield always watched like Any Given Sunday on his thing. That's
a remote dropper right there. That's a friggin' remote dropper right there.
Any Given Sunday was good. But I would say Django is probably one of my most remote dropper. You ever see Django?
Oh yeah. Oh, Django. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan. I wasn't a huge fan.
Don't tell me you didn't like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I thought he missed
The
on
ending's
that.
a little bit weird.
I thought he missed on that. There was just like when I expect a Quentin Tarantino movie, I expect raunchy blood, gore, F-bombs from beginning to end. It was too slow for me.
But you know what? It was more like a period thing. Like they were trying to just really show like Hollywood in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, it was too slow for me.
I can see that though.
It was a little bit of like
but the thing is, you want when anybody watches a movie, right? You want it like you almost expect it to lead to something.
Mm-hmm.
That movie didn't really like lead to anything.
Yeah, the
finale was bizarre because it's like, how did these people cross paths?
Because I thought it was gonna be more of like more based around Charles Manson.
That's what I thought, and that's what everybody thought originally. That was gonna be like these guys crossing paths with like the Manson family. Crazy shit was gonna happen.
That's what I thought.
Not like three random. Yeah, just like of his fault. It was weird.
Yeah, I wasn't like, because prior to that, is Hateful Eight the one with Sam Jackson? That was his other one.
Hateful Eight, I think, was what did he make after Hateful Eight between that and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Was it? I'm trying to remember. I don't think, or he might not have made anything. Actually,
the Hateful Eight was good with Sam Jackson. That at points of times it got a little bit of, slowed down a little bit. But Django was probably my favorite. Then he did
Django is my favorite.
Then he did Reservoir Dogs, and obviously From Dusk Till Dawn.
Inglourious Basterds is another great one.
Yeah, he did that. So I've always been like a Quentin Tarantino. Then he had the Grindhouse that he did.
Yep.
I've always been a Quentin Tarantino fan, so I like those.
Did you watch anything recently that just sucked? Where you were like, I'm turning this shit off. I can't do this. I can tell you what. I never turn movies off. Really?
I'll ride it to the end.
It's funny you say that because you know what? I've never walked out of a movie no matter.
Yeah,
how
I'll never turn it off. If I get caught up in it, I'll never turn it off.
My worst movie of last year, I shit you not, was Halloween Kills. You into horror movies?
Yeah,
that was awful, man.
I hated it.
Really?
Halloween Kills was so fucking bad.
Really?
When I tell you this movie had Wiggy, when I tell you this movie had zero fucking.
I've seen it.
You saw it?
I'm a fan of the Halloween. Yeah,
I liked the one from a couple years ago.
So you had Halloween. Yeah, you have Halloween Kills,
and now Halloween Ends is coming out next year.
Yes, I thought what this one was. This one was really just Michael Myers on a killing spree. That's why it was Halloween Kills. Not really a big plot into it, right? It introduced some of the older characters from the original Halloween.
And then just fucking killed them off, and the only two left are the fucking cop and Jamie Lee Curtis's 80-year-old ass in the hospital room.
Right, but
and now
so Halloween Ends should tell us the story of why Michael Myers is, because at the end when he's looking out the window, and the reflection
in his house, right? Everything, yeah.
So to me, that was more about the gore, the blood, and Michael Myers just going on a killing spree, which I didn't mind. I think it's been one of the better ones in a while.
And this is my issue with this movie is like the first one paints him as like a regular guy that is just kind of like good at avoiding fucking death.
Well, yeah. Now you're getting more of this some type of spiritual.
Thank you. Yes. Exactly. Now he's ascended into this like supernatural being,
right?
Which takes me out of the movie now because I always thought the coolest part about Michael Myers was that he was a fucking regular guy. That he was not a regular guy, but you know what I mean? Like a mortal man.
Right,
now
but
this guy's getting shot. He's getting baseball batted, hit by a fucking truck.
But see, that's always been Michael Myers, though, from the original Halloween. That's always been him. Like he's always gotten shot. When Donald Pleasant actor who played the psychiatrist
Loomis, yeah, right.
Yeah, when Loomis blew him up in the hospital, they shot him. Like he's always played that. So I think now what they're doing is like tying it into why is Michael Myers this supernatural killer.
And here's why I wish they didn't do this is because now what you've done, right, Jay Fine, is now you're the way they're structuring the story for this Halloween Ends is this climax between him and Jamie Lee Curtis's character. So you're gonna tell me that all the grown, healthy, normal adults couldn't kill this fucking guy, and now the climax that they're building towards in this third movie is that 77-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be the guy that takes this guy down.
No, she's going to find out why Michael Myers is the way he is, and then that's what's ultimately going to lead to her finally being able to kill Michael Myers.
Do you think that's the right story that they should have went with? Because I would have liked if they just kept this conventional. Like I said,
but no one could kill him but Jamie Lee because she's been there from day one.
but why? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because,
but why?
Because in this movie, what they should do in Halloween Ends, you have to tie the relationship between Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers and what it is.
Okay. And
because remember, they went from the original.
Okay.
And then every other movie they wiped out.
They skipped it out, exactly.
Right. So hold on. You're right. In terms of like, they should have, which is why I liked in the past when they were like brother and sister. I liked that. Because it gave them a connection. Right. Going back to what you're saying here.
Right.
And when they got rid of that, I'm like, now this is just some weird, not weird, but like this kind of like.
Well, that's where they're going to tie it in.
Relationship between some psycho and some girl that he tried to kill, who he's never been able to finish. And now it's going to end off like they both die.
Well, we'll see. I think it's more for me. I want to see how they tie the supernatural to the connection of who he is and his relationship with Jamie Lee.
And my problem with that is like nothing has been hinted at this in these first two movies in the new reboot franchise. There's been no hint of anything until the fact that this guy got.
Well, the supernatural part was hinted in the second, the Halloween Kills.
Where did I miss this?
At the end, when she's looking out the mirror, out the window. And the Loomis voice, or I can't remember, and he's standing there, and they say, "What does evil see in the mirror?"
Oh, you're talking about the monologue thing.
Yes.
Like the exposition monologue.
Like,
at the end.
what does he see?
Yeah.
And so Michael Myers sees something, right?
Yeah.
And so, what is that reflection that he's seeing that might be supernatural that makes him pure evil?
Okay.
Right. And then the connection is, well, Jamie Lee's back. Who is Jamie Lee to this Michael Myers character?
And I really got to see where they go with that. They really got to like hit it home with some crazy plot point.
You got to do that. You got to be a mind baller.
Because in the first one, they never actually draw the connection between why he's stalking her and her friends.
That's another problem. Right. That's another thing.
You're talking about the original.
In the original, yes. Right, going back. You know what I mean? They never actually give you why he's keying in on that group.
Well, all you know initially is based on him killing his sister.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That I get because it's a family thing. And if he grew up in like an abusive household, I get that you have like these,
Well, that's what Rob Zombie tried to do.
Did you watch either of those two?
Yeah, Rob Zombie.
Did you like them?
Yeah, I didn't mind them. Rob Zombie tried to tie in more of the backstory of how he was abused and the crazy mother and go down. And I didn't mind the Rob Zombie ones.
Did it get weird in the second one?
The second one, oh man, it's been so long.
I know, right?
Yeah, the second one, but I just watched the reboot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was on Netflix.
I actually heard it wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't. If you like, it's a lot of gore and it's like all these movies. There's still some holes that they have to fill. Probably my favorite movie of this year is the Harder They Fall, which is the Idris Elba.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're in like the Wild West.
Yep.
Him, Regina King. So, but
I heard it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. So.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, no, we're big with film on this pod and stuff like that. So we're big with that.
We could have talked about that for an hour.
No, 100%. Wiggs, I mean, listen, I know you got to get going. Thank you for being here.
Not a problem, man. Anytime.
I had a blast. I would love to have you back if you ever wanted to come back on this show.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, man. Awesome. I'll like I said, guys, again, Jermaine Wiggins here in studio. Super Bowl champion Jermaine Wiggins, undrafted 2 Super Bowl champ. Jermaine Wiggins,
is that
right
what it
here.
Is? Easty the Super Bowl champ.
Easty the Super Bowl champ right there. You know what I'm saying? So, dude, thank you for talking about your career. Is like fascinating to talk about. Like, it's just like, this was so much fun.
I appreciate
Everything I thought
it, man.
it was going to be, man. Thank you. That's a wrap on episode 5 of the Mass Appeal podcast. We will see you next week. And guys, take it easy. Have a good one.
Check it out.
See you around.